Hey, class of 83, welcome to another Go Knuckle Talk with Flo. And of course, my co-host, the awesome Lisa Nolan Hafner. Hey.
Hi, Michael.
So this is not just a week thing. We do these shows on the weekend as well.
Yes, and I'm glad that we had the time and that our participants, our guests today, were available to do it this weekend. And you know what? Anytime that I get to hang out with you is a fun time, so it's worth it.
Ditto. Well, who are our guests?
Our guests today are fabulous twirlers, Jeannie Hogue and Fanchon West. So let's bring them on.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi, it's so nice to see y'all.
Well, this is a first, you guys being together rather than being in different locations. This is awesome. We're privileged today, right, Lisa?
Yes, we are so privileged, and it's so nice to see these beautiful faces that have not changed since high school.
Right, I'm jealous. I'm freaking jealous. So
seriously,
you guys look
girl,
great.
Seriously, you look just like you did in high school.
Let's get further back.
Yeah.
Look even better.
Stop. Well, welcome to Go Knuckle Talk with Flo. We're excited to hear some of the stories you guys want to share. And speaking of Goat Knuckle, when do you guys think it started? And did you use Goat Knuckle back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, I remember it in middle school. I remember watching, you mentioned Wendy Stewart earlier. I remember her playing basketball and saying, oh, that's a goat during the basketball game. So maybe she started it, but I don't know where she heard it.
Wow.
I remember it in 8th grade, not so much 7th grade, but I definitely remember it when we were at Estacado.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did use it, but I had no idea how it originated or really even what it meant, but we eventually figured out, the appropriate way to use it.
Well, when Lisa posted Go Knuckle Talk with Flo, when she first posted on our Facebook page, Blake Barton mentioned that he thought Irvin Davis, which is class of 80, he was a damn good football player. He even played for UT. He thought that he may have coined it, but
maybe
who knows?
Yeah.
But
it's
definitely I'm sorry, it's definitely isolated in our area because outside of Plainview, no one knows what the hell that means.
Also, I just want to do a shout out for how great the graphics are on that.
Yes, who did that?
Quick story. Friday night at the reunion, we had an 80s t-shirt contest, and I took a photo of my hand, and I had Goat Knuckle because my 80s t-shirt. Well, Jimmy Bodeker at the lunch the following day showed me a picture of a t-shirt of that image. So I'm like, cool. I sent it to Casey Wofford. What's her married name? Tucker. And her and her husband own Signs on the Go in Idalou. And she did the graphics. She did the poster for me. So kudos to her and to Jimmy Bodeker.
It's so awesome. I love it.
I do too.
Makes me smile.
And yes, it is. I've got the trademark pending.
Hey, go all out in case somebody wants to steal it.
You never know, right? Because go ahead, Lisa.
And coming soon, I will be wearing a t-shirt with that same logo for our talks.
Yay, good.
Yeah,
awesome.
Michael ordered a t-shirt for me.
You see that?
Too. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna have fun for a very long time with this show. I mean, until I guess the good old Lord calls us. But anyway, back to the show. Twirlers. So you guys were a senior Twirlers back in '83. So what inspired you guys to become a twirler, and when did you guys start?
I'll start, because Jeannie said she didn't remember this, but we were walking home. We went to Edgemere Elementary School together, and we were walking home, and she was telling me about her twirling lessons. And it sounded like fun with Jeannie Pennell. It was Jeannie Bear at the time. And my parents said, yeah, I'll let you take lessons. And it was just so fun. I don't know what, I mean, it was. And yeah, and just spiraled from there. I did a few competitions. I didn't really enjoy those, but I think they were good for me to work on getting better. And then just kept doing it. So that's how I got started. What about you?
Well, the reason I started is because I really wanted to take dance lessons. And for whatever reason, my mom wasn't really in agreement with that idea. And so I started thinking about what's another way that I can still dance. And so I found out about twirling, and I thought, well, that's just dance with a metal stick. So it's really good. So that's how I really got started. And my mom agreed for me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I started then, and I was in about third grade.
Yeah.
And then we twirled together. Fanton and I really twirled together that entire time, all the way through high school.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
Really, we were able to twirl with a band starting in middle school.
Yeah, which was fun. 8th grade. We got to do out in front of the band, you know.
And
I don't remember that in 8th grade.
I do. I remember.
I don't remember. Jesus, I have a damn good memory. I just don't remember. But go ahead.
Well, and Christy Gill also
Yes.
twirled with us that year, and Sherry. I can't remember her last name right now, but there was another sweet girl named Sherry that twirled with us. Well, not Sherry Stair. She's younger than we are. She twirled with us.
Right.
And I'll think of her name in a minute. She's precious.
Too. Yeah.
But now a lot of the middle schools don't really, I'm not sure that they really march anymore, but we were very fortunate that we started marching in 8th grade. And so we actually went to competition, I think. And
we did.
And we
didn't. Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I was in band in 8th grade. I mean, did we march at football games?
No.
I mean, middle school games? No.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened is we didn't march at football games, except there was one game where they invited the 7th and 8th graders to come on the field with the high school band. We did do that one year.
So
but not typically.
They let us do it's where we learned how to do the march through.
Yeah.
Where you go down and you march back through the band. That was the main thing that I remember learning that year. From the band's marching perspective. And I honestly, now that I think about it, I'm not sure what type of competition we went to, or if it was, but we had to have done something like that. So, but I know it was not, or I don't remember it being at Jones Stadium. Because I remember being pretty blown away the first time that we were at the Texas Tech Stadium. Yeah. When we went into that.
Yeah, scared me half to death. I know.
As a freshman. But we did, and we enjoyed it. We started our marching experience then in 8th grade. And then
who was our band director then? Well,
Mr. Giddens.
Giddens.
Yeah.
I remember he would always say that he can blow, or I play someone with a lung tied behind his back. I remember he used to say that quite a bit. He would say, because if somebody would not do very well playing, I could play with a lung tied behind my back. So
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he would say that. But he was a good guy.
I liked him.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Burke, I think might have been
7th grade.
7th grade, yes.
No, wait a minute. Was it 7th? Yeah.
And then they both were, of course, assistants in the high school band as well. But one of the things I remember most about Mr. Giddens are two things. He always wore, I call him my 3 sons' shoes.
He did.
And he would always tap his foot, and I would think, no. Okay, my 3 sons. And I also remember he always used to say, you see what I mean?
Yeah, because he like John Wayne a little bit.
Yeah. Remember, he had the eyebrows, and he would pull them out every once in a while. That man had caterpillars on his face, on his forehead. So, who was our 6th grade? Because we started 6th grade, didn't we? Man, did we start playing instruments in 6th grade? I don't remember who was our.
Just in 6th grade, and then 7th grade continued in that. Then 8th grade we got to march.
I don't remember who I had in 6th grade.
I thought Mr. Burke did us in 6th grade as well. I could be wrong.
Remember, we're different schools.
We
were in
no,
Ash.
at Ash in 6th grade.
That's right.
Yeah,
My memory I can't remember that.
yeah, well,
I'm glad to know I'm not the only one with memory issues.
It'll come back to me. I
Yeah.
feel like there was one more band director also that maybe didn't stay, but I might be remembering that incorrectly. For some reason, I'm remembering a woman. Do you remember a woman band director that was there? Maybe.
no.
I might.
Killian's son.
Oh yeah, Mr. Killian was there. In high
Yeah,
school.
and high school.
Oh, coach. Oh, coach.
Yeah.
Coach Killian, yeah.
Yeah.
I did try to invite him. I did invite him to come to luncheon for a 40th, but he had some other plans. But he would, if he didn't, he would love to join us. Oh, but anyway, so that's how you guys started. But and you guys twirled through high school. And did you guys have a rival of another twirler in high school?
Not like in our high school, like from an opposing team.
Yes.
I never felt that way. We always was Bethany always the feature twirler at Monterey, or was she older than us?
She was older.
Okay, they had a
Maybe we
twirling
saw her
line.
our freshman year, but
Yeah,
you know, that's one thing that maybe would be good to talk about a little bit is that Fanchon and I were the first twirlers to be allowed to twirl on the varsity team as freshmen.
Mhm.
And you know, I know the freshmen, all of us were allowed to be in the big band that year
Yeah.
as well. But that was something that was really special for us because that had never happened
Right.
before. And we were so nervous about
Scared
making
to
sure
Yeah.
that we could pull our weight in that arena because it was just such a big honor. We did not take that lightly at all and feel so blessed that we got to have that experience all 4 years together.
Who was the other twirlers, like senior, junior twirlers? Who were they?
yeah. So Vina Hawkins now was a senior twirler, and she was so sweet and loving with us. I don't know why we were so scared because everybody was really sweet. Suzanne Wampler now was the junior. Again, very sweet and loving. So we had some support. Rochelle, her dad was the eye
Yeah,
doctor.
why can't I remember that? Morgan
Was a twirler.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then it was Rochelle. Yeah, I had to go down the line. It was Rochelle, then me, then Suzanne, then Vina,
and then
then-
Cindy Robertson was a sophomore, and then me.
Oh yeah. So we didn't do we have a feature twirler or it was just a line?
Just a line,
Wow, okay, interesting. I don't remember.
which is weird. Normally they do a feature. Yeah.
Mhm. But
I'm
we-
actually glad that they didn't do a feature. And you know what, girls, I'm going to just tell you right now that you pulled your weight and then some because the fact that y'all had already had all these years twirling together.
Yeah.
So you were ready to step into that role as a freshman.
It just seemed
Just
such a
saying.
big jump.
I mean, do you remember your first football game as a varsity cheerleader? Didn't you kind of feel a little?
Oh, totally. Because only me and Crystal were the only ones, and all the rest were seniors. And yes, we were a nervous wreck, and we had that same sense of, oh my gosh, this is a really prideful moment. We're representing our class in this senior arena.
Y'all were
Yes.
great. You were great.
And let me tell you, there were so many practices that we had that everything was so choreographed. We even had it choreographed. We wore long capes over our uniforms. And we even had it choreographed for
How you take it off.
how you take your cape off. I mean, I could still do
I can still do. Yeah, I can still do.
I love it.
I can still twirl the fight song.
because
Really?
We did it all.
Show us. Step back and show us. That's cool. Well, I'm glad you guys mentioned our freshman year. Yes, we were allowed to march our freshman year. And then our sophomore year, they didn't allow the freshmen then. So it was so great because we all had a year experience going in as a group again.
Okay.
And that's the year we went to state and marched at UT. I forget the name of the stadium. And who cares about UT anyway? But that was an intimidating stadium. You guys recall that?
oh yes,
I loved
yes.
it. Yeah, because that was the special routine.
Oh, when you stepped over, you guys got stepped over.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was where all the auxiliary laid down on the field, and then the band marched over us in one line. And the one thing that I remember that was really special about that, one thing we probably should mention is that, Jeannie Bear didn't just coach us. She also coached the flags and
the rifles. Yeah,
So
she did.
Really?
she coached all the auxiliary, and that was the one year. There may have been others, but this is the one year that really sticks in my mind where all of the auxiliary collaborated together for an exchange toss, and we did an aerial move before we all laid down on the field, and then the band marched over us in unison, and it was the pinnacle of the show, and very well received by the audience.
Yeah, I was laying down and they stepped over us. I could hear the audience just yell, and it felt so good.
Yeah,
Like, oh, we did it.
I didn't get. I was at the end, so I didn't get to step over anyone. So
That's a shame.
no, yeah, and by the way, during practices, did anyone just going to pretend to step on you, or everybody was cool?
I mean, I could see Mac Yates. And maybe Don Wright, Murray.
Yeah.
Another one that was in my mind. Might pretend to step. But really the only one I remember is that Suzanne, she would wear her curlers in her hair. And a lot of us wore curlers because in the morning, so we could look, better when band was over. But she had her curlers in, and one person accidentally hit her roller and left a mark across her forehead that was pretty
ouch.
Smart for the day, at least. But those were she wore those ones that you sleep on, right? Not the hot curlers.
The sponge rollers.
The sponge rollers, she might have wore those, but I thought what caused the mark.
It was
the electric rollers that had the spikes in them, and the spikes stuck in her forehead.
Ouch.
Oh my God.
Why did it have spikes? Oh, to cling onto the hair, I guess?
To cling, yes. So your hair would cling onto them.
Oh, geez.
That was terrible. I mean,
did it break skin?
I know, it just made a bunch of red little pokey things.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, boy, she let her hair down and went to second period, and she looked great, because she had her rollers in. So we all.
The Jeannie.
That gives me goosebumps, y'all sharing about that experience. I mean, what an incredible memory for y'all for that band competition. And so that's the year that y'all won state.
We didn't win state. We got fifth place. We got fifth. There was the top four played in the evening, and we came in fifth. We were just one place from doing it in the evening. So I thought we did very well for a small school.
Oh, that was incredible. Yeah, and that we got all Division I was a big deal. And I remember Crockett High School, which is in Austin over here, they're the ones that won first place. And that was the year that Dallas was really big. And they fell down on the ground and spelled out JR, and they played the theme from Dallas. They won. I remember that.
That's neat. And all I remember was what a wonderful experience it is. I didn't remember us placing fifth or anything. I just thought it was a great experience. I didn't hold any of that other information.
Yeah. It's my first time in Austin too, and I love Austin. I still love Austin. I'm still in the area, and it was just, I remember thinking I want to live here someday, and I did. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's fantastic.
I was in San Antonio last week, but I travel there quite a bit. I've got clients there, but it's okay. But speaking of band, we could have done the things we did if it wasn't for Mr. O.T. Ryan.
Yeah.
He was a well-respected man and very feared at the same time. So I know you guys have to have some great stories about Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, I have mine just in case. But no, I mean, OT was really like a dad to me. And I mean, I do remember, I have memories associated with twirling, but most of my memories are more related to band and just life in general. But the one thing I can remember about OT, or a few things, is that he was always there for me. I remember one year at All Region Band, I think it might have been my sophomore or junior year at All Region. We always had those concerts in Lubbock, and there was one particular year where my father was gravely ill, and I had a solo, And I was really excited about my parents getting to come to that concert because I'd never played in a big band like that in all region or above. And later in all state, I was also able to have a solo, but at that time I had not yet. And so was looking forward to that. My parents obviously couldn't be there because my father was taken to ICU. And they were just debating whether to pull me before the concert. And I don't know whether it was my mother or someone else, but they decided ultimately to let me play. And then as soon as the concert was over, I looked over and saw OT standing behind the curtain, and they just kind of whisked me away and made sure I got to wherever I needed to be. And he was just very comforting to me, always very positive about it's gonna be fine, but and the other things that I can remember really is some years later then when my father passed away, I looked up and he was right there again, and
Wow.
I just think that one of the memories I have, and I won't go into detail about what he said, but to see him at the graveside service, kind of squatting down, holding my children in his arms and speaking with them. And that was just an unforgettable visual for me to have. And he just was always there for me, and I have, funny memories as well. He used to make me practice my pinky exercises on the airplane going to Allstate. He wanted to see how strong my pinkies were, so that when I got to the audition, he wanted to make sure I could hit all the right keys. Those are most of the stories that I have. And one really unfortunate one, I made Allstate my sophomore and junior years, and I did not make it my senior year. Had kind of a little hitch in the giddy up. I had a little bit of a series of unfortunate events that made it hard for me to focus that year.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the Texas Tech halls where we auditioned, and I did not make it. And he came running down the hall after I got the news. And when I told him, he did not believe me. And so he thought I was joking. And I actually had to say, it was crushing.
I bet it was.
I had to say, I really didn't make it. And I'm so sorry because I never wanted to let him down. I just always wanted to make him proud because he was just such a mentor to me. But winning or losing is not really the point of those things. It's more about, the experience, the support you have, how you recover from those things, because we're not always going to win in life. But it's about what we're doing before and how we respond after. And he taught us all of those things, because we didn't win at state, like you mentioned. And, but we still had reason to be proud of what we accomplished.
And you played the oboe?
No.
Bass clarinet.
Everyone always says I played the bassoon.
Ah! Okay.
So funny. If
It's a reed instrument.
if somebody didn't guess bassoon first, oboe first, I would be shocked. But now I played the bassoon.
I remembered the bassoon. I did.
Oh, of course you did, Fanchon. Of course you did. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
And you played, Fanchon, you're the flutist? Flute?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I didn't, unlike Jeannie, of course I enjoyed concert season, but when I was at WT, I didn't get involved in concert. I wasn't quite the musician Jeannie was, and probably I might not have cared that much about it, to be honest. I liked playing and I could, play along with the band, but it was still fun. I like being part of the band and I love learning about the music. I'll hear something on the radio. But do you listen to KMFA? Okay, yeah, there's a classical music station in Austin, and I'll hear something that we played, so I learned a lot. It was fun.
I think it's really incredible that OT made such an indelible impression on so many people. Even if he was a bit feared, he was so deeply respected, and the fact that he really cared about everybody, I think it's just something really amazing. And what a gift, because look at all of these lessons that you took from just being in band and being twirlers and being part of that organization, so to speak. And everybody that went under his wing benefited from that.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would just say that, the thought that I remember driving home from the funeral, my husband made a comment about that experience. And I said, the truth is that I was just I'm one of many because OT treated many students that way. So there wasn't anything, it wasn't like I was like extra or something. It was really more about just who he was as a person and how much he deeply cared about students and wanted them to reach their full potential and feel cared for and nurtured. And you're right, Lisa. I mean, it's a tremendous blessing. And I feel like we have so many teachers that we can reflect back on. I mean, just think about your career. You had a teaching career and inspired by, you want to talk a little
Oh,
about
yeah. Some of us had Linda Hatchell for senior English, and that year was when I realized I wanted to be an English teacher. And I have taught senior English from time to time, mainly taught freshman and sophomore, but occasionally I would do senior English. And yeah, she was an incredible mentor and inspiration for me. But there were a lot of good teachers at PHS, I think, you know.
I think so too. Do y'all remember Lanny Welch, Mrs. Welch, red hair? She was senior English as well. That was my senior English teacher.
Okay.
And she inspired me to go into teaching. Ultimately, I did not teach because that's another story for another show, but I didn't. But I mean, I'm a teacher in a different way today. But she was a huge inspiration to me, and Mr. Wood, our senior advisor, Coach Hill. Yeah, I mean, there were so many teachers that really stepped up to support me in so many different ways. So we're all so lucky. We are all so lucky. Yeah. So do y'all have any funny stories about like maybe dropping the baton or forgetting a routine?
That's not funny.
They are.
Yeah, they're funny now, not funny when they happen. I know they're devastating.
I'm sure.
You should tell about the toss. I mean, Fanchon did an incredible, crazy, scary toss our senior year.
Our senior year, we had 8 twirlers instead of 6, and we got a wild and decided we were going to do. I was on the far right end, and then Risha Roderick was on the far left end, and the 6 in the middle got down, and then she tossed her baton all over the 6, and I had to catch it on the end. I think we did it every performance. We always did it at the end of the show because we had to pass our batons to the next person because otherwise I would have had 2 batons, and so we had to do that. It was all choreographed. And I don't think I dropped it during a football game. I know I dropped it during a pep rally once, which sometimes was scarier to me than a football game because when it bounces on that gym floor, it just echoes and it's in front of your peers. Whereas, you know, not every, you know, it's not as bad at the football game, or I don't know. But that was that was a crazy. I don't know why we thought we would do that, but we did it.
I'm sure
a teeny pin only. It's like, let's just toss it on 6 of them and see what.
Well, you guys twirl not just with batons, but swords. I think they had those little hooks at the end.
Yeah, well, actually, Dina twirled machete knives. We never, I never did knives. We never twirled knives. No.
Okay.
We did twirl fire, and I will tell you about one unfortunate event that I had. I can't remember what year it was, but we were practicing for the bonfire, and we know when. Have you ever seen a fire baton? Well, you might have, Michael, because I know you worked with Art Studio for a while. But they're metal, and then they have this canvas wrapped around the ends, and it's bolted on both ends. Soak it. And you soak it in kerosene for, I don't know, 6-8 hours. Yeah. We put it in a coffee can and soak it outside and put foil on it and then flip the ends. And then that allows it to be lit for about 3 or 4 minutes, long enough for the routine.
Yeah.
And so we would practice in front of Jeannie's house. And one night before the bonfire, we were practicing. And when you take your baton out, you have to shake it to get the excess kerosene off. Well, the girl standing next to me didn't realize that I was already, my baton was being lit, and she shook her baton and I caught on fire.
Ooh. Like Michael Jackson, huh?
Yeah, it went up like a flat fire. I had my hair up in a ponytail, burned my whole ponytail off, burned my eyebrows, burned my eyelashes, the whole thing. And I dropped in cold, and it was a flash fire.
Yeah, it was
of me.
Wow.
remember she twirled that bonfire. She just went on ahead and did it. And
Well, it was the 80s. I mean, suck it up. But,
Jesus.
but the worst part about that was I got kerosene in my eyes. And so I ran into the house. I remember going into Jeannie's bathroom. I flushed my eyes with water. And then I ran back out and Jeannie had my baton and she was digging it out. She's like, come on, get back up there.
No way. She's hard at OT.
She was afraid I would be too afraid to do it, I guess, if I didn't do it.
God.
So I literally had those little rubber things, those little hair ties that had melted kind of into my head. And when I left, my mom took me straight over. I really think it was Betty Gonzalez. I think it was Eddie Gonzalez's mother came up to her shop that night and cut my hair in a short hairdo. And then the next day, of course, everybody was singing Burn Baby Burn, Disco Inferno, or Come On Baby. There was no sympathy.
Wow. Well, hey, luckily it wasn't severe. It could have been
I know.
really bad. So,
Really.
No kidding.
anytime it's on fire, you would always have singed hairs on your arm, but that's it. But
Yeah.
fortunately for her, gotta be careful how you shake out that gas. And
And it was just the girl
Yeah.
next. She was just
That
shaking,
wasn't on
she was
purpose.
talking, and she
Yeah,
was just shaking her baton, and it just went on me, because they were lighting my fire.
as the
So,
song says.
it's just an unfortunate. So
Oh my gosh, thank goodness it was not more severe and catastrophic than that. You were so lucky.
and I don't even know if anyone remembers that. It was so long ago.
I was trying to remember, did they turn off the lights whenever you guys performed that?
Yes.
They did. They turned off the stadium lights, didn't they? That was
Yes,
cool.
they did.
Awesome. And I remember when I was at WT, I was asking my band director was Gary Gardner, who's also good friends with Jeannie. And I kept asking, why can't we turn off the stadium lights? It's a bigger college stadium. You can't just turn them off and on like you can at a small town stadium.
It takes a long time for them to come back on.
Yeah. And I was like, it's going to match the stairs. Oh, it'll still look great, so anyway, but yeah.
I think the newer lights might come on faster, but she's right.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't turn them off too much. And at Tech, we actually didn't do fire. We did glow sticks. So, which I guess that brings up a point. Yeah. I mean, we both twirled in college. I twirled at Tech and she twirled at WT.
That's wonderful.
And, how long did you guys twirl at the universities?
Well,
All 4 years?
I didn't start my freshman year. I just took everything off and really tried to focus on my studies because I was afraid I wouldn't pass. But then I met two girls that were twirling. Valerie, she knows both of them. Valerie Vogel, Valerie Moore, lives in Plainview, and Erica Pope at the time, who's now Erica Carter. They came up to me. I was involved at some school organization, and they were too. And they said, "How come you're not twirling?" I said, "I don't know." And I said, "I don't know, but I could do college." "Sure you can." And so I went to Jeannie Pennell. She came up with a routine. I tried out. So I did twirl my sophomore, junior, and senior year of college.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Jeannie?
I twirled my freshman and sophomore year. So it was really crazy. I remember, my parents didn't go to a lot of my competitions. And for some reason, the day I got up to try out, they decided they wanted to go watch me try out at Tech, which was horrible. I thought, oh no, extra pressure.
Yeah.
And there were over 300 girls auditioning for 3 spots.
Wow.
And when we pulled up and I saw those girls, I turned around like I was going to go back to the car. And my dad's like, nope. But I actually choreographed my own routine. And of course, Jeannie helped me after I choreographed it. I just wanted to see if I could do my own routine. And I actually choreographed it and performed to a song that I played at Allstate.
Yeah.
And a recording that we had done. I fell in love with a specific song. But I twirled my freshman and sophomore years. Bethany Evans was our feature twirler. Yeah. And then after my sophomore year, I just had been really busy. And so I felt like, I was an architect major and I had been the spokesperson-ish for the Texas Cotton Council that year. And so I was pretty tired on top of that. So I just stepped back after that, but it was a great experience and being part of the Going Band.
Oh yeah, they're so good. I still love watching them.
It was so great. I just felt so honored to be a part of that. And then, the Tech twirlers this year, they do so many more, like WT had very complicated routines. The WT twirlers had very complex routines. Ours were much more like drill. They were very uniform, but not so many tosses and spins and all that. But they do that now at Tech, and they just won the National Collegiate Twirling Championship under Bethany's leadership. The
Good for
former
them.
teacher, she's just been
Wow.
in that group. Yeah. So,
And as you know, I worked for Bethany's parents, Art and Benny Evans, and when they owned Arts Theatrical, I worked with them for a while, and yes, I still in touch with Bethany and her husband Wes Tolley, who marched for Tech as well.
Yeah.
So it's a small world, huh?
yeah, it's a small world. And our coach, Jeannie, was a twirler at Tech when she was at Tech. And of course, Benny was a twirler at Tech before Bethany. And so I was the first twirler in Plainview to make the Tech line after Jeannie. And so,
Wow.
it's kind of said Jeannie 1 and Jeannie 2, but that's another little special connection that she and I have is that, I was the first twirler then to make it from Plainview for Tech, and that was a special thing for us.
So what, both of you, two questions for both of y'all. When you first twirled at the collegiate level, who was it? Who was the opponent for Tech and opponent for WT? And was it at the home field, or were you guys out of town when you first twirled?
Whoa, I cannot remember what I ate yesterday. Let's listen.
He's all about who.
You got to remember your first time twirling in college. Come on.
I have to confess, West Texas A&M is much smaller. It was West Texas State when I was there, so we weren't Division I like Tech. So we played like what's in Brownwood, Howard Payne University, Abilene Christian, various Eastern New Mexico, and some of those bands didn't even have a twirler. I remember it seems like Howard Payne did have a line, and they were lovely. But so because they really didn't have a lot of twirlers, I couldn't say I had a rival. There was no rival. What I loved about West Texas State, they are a very, very good band. What they're known for is they're small but mighty. They're not as large as the Tech band. They're good, but they're very good. So, very, very good. Have a wonderful sound, So that was an honor to be with them.
I mean, West Texas State is really a premier music school. I would put it right up there with North Texas State in terms of music ed. It's just, there's a lot of really amazing musicians that come out of that program. And I would say Dr. Garner had a lot to do with that.
And he's still there. How old is he? 80?
He is not
90? Yeah, but he's still there. My nephew, who is now a band director at Roy City, he got his undergrad and master's at West Texas A&M as a band director now. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, Fanchon, when you were going to when it was West Texas State, was it an NCAA school or was it an NAIA school? Do you remember?
I really don't know. I don't know. I bet it's NAIA. I don't know.
Yep. Because I think Abilene Christian and like Lubbock Christian, those were NAIA schools. And so when you were mentioning some of the rival schools, I was wondering what division it is or was at the time.
Yeah. Now at the time, is Abilene Christian still NAIA?
I don't think so.
I think they're NCAA now. Yes.
I think so.
All right, Jim, what about you? What was your first game?
Well, I mean, I'll have to say that it was probably a scrimmage. I mean, I will say that when I was at Tech, probably more people went to see the band than the football team. We weren't that great my freshman year at least. But I do remember that our first ones were usually New Mexico. I think we had a scrimmage with New Mexico, and then Arkansas at some point. Yeah. But I know it was a home game, the first game that I twirled, but I just don't remember the team that we played that day.
Okay.
It was a
Mo Evans played at Tech during the time he twirled. Did you speak to him often, like in the sidelines, or say hi, or?
No, we were back a ways, but no, that wasn't a thing.
Okay, all right. Well, I would ask Lisa a question. At Tech, there was I think she was class of 80 or 81 who had become a cheerleader at Tech. She was a short little blonde, but she got hit by the Tech
Jay Nudie.
Jay Nudie, yeah, she got hit by the horse and
Yep.
broke her arm, correct, Gene?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Oh, we were still.
Yeah.
I think
right?
yeah, she and I, we were really good friends before she graduated, and we used to run track together. And she's the one who's like, you've got to try out for cheerleader when you go to Tech. And at tryouts, I was doing one of those jumps, and I landed and hyperextended my leg and completely tore my ACL. And they had to
Ouch.
get some sweaty basketball player at the rec center to carry me to the infirmary, and that was the end of
Wow.
that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oof.
Sorry, Lisa.
I look back on that sometimes and it's like, oh my gosh, how different would my life have turned out if I made it for cheerleader? You just different avenues that we take in life and
Right.
everything. And 4 joint surgeries later, I'm lucky that I
Oh,
can still
Jesus.
walk.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. It's
Well,
one,
yeah.
one thing I regret, I never got to see you twirl at Tech. I'm sorry I didn't do that.
know
I
that.
should have made the trip to Lubbock. I
should've-
could have done it. I didn't do it. I'm
Mhm.
sorry I didn't get to see you
No,
twirl. That's a
same.
shame.
I didn't either.
Well, she can leave now, right, Jeannie? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Going
So
back
y'all
to
can twirl for each other.
yeah, going back to high school band. Do you guys remember the spring trip to Corpus?
Yes.
And I was able to only go on one of them because my sophomore year I played baseball and I couldn't go. But I remember going my freshman year and that was a lot of fun. We marched at what was that parade?
Buccaneer Day parade.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And my mom had a lot of family living in that area, and they came to watch me, and I saw them, waved at them, so I felt like a celebrity. But it was pretty cool. So you guys have any stories from that trip?
Oh, I just remember it being so hot and humid compared to Plainview. By the end, I don't know how y'all did it. At least we got to wear our little uniforms. Y'all were in full uniform in that humidity. But I just loved being at the beach. I had so much fun. Just going to the beach. And Corpus, I don't guess it's not California and it's not Florida, but for us, hey, at the beach, it was just so fun. I loved it. I loved being
Did we stay in condos or apartments? I don't remember.
We stayed in condos and we used to go grocery shopping
Yep.
at Kroger
Oh Lord.
out there, and then we would just, I guess, and goodness knows whatever we ate. I was just thinking about that. You cut a whole bunch of kids loose, but I do have this memory of the band directors doling out money to each of us for our groceries for that period of time, however long it was.
I
They
didn't
would
remember
give
that.
us an allowance, which I'm sure we raised, but they kept it all in this big envelope. And then unless I'm remembering that incorrectly, I think they gave it to
I'm
us
sure she's right. I
before we
just
got off the
remember.
bus,
Yeah.
and then we had to stay in budget and get our groceries, and then
And
we
we
probably
probably
just chips,
chips,
and whatever.
yeah. They're away from home.
Yeah, the 4 food groups, soda, chips, dip.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
No.
did they assign who you were going to room with, or how did that work? Was there chaperone parents?
But you sign up, you got to pick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
I think at night they would put tape on the doors. They put tape on the outside of the doors, and if that tape was breached, you were in big trouble.
I don't remember that.
There
I
were
think some still trying, but yes, I didn't, but
All right, so no mentioning names, but did you know of anyone that got caught?
we know people that got caught for different things. I don't remember anybody that got caught.
not for that.
No, I think that's the end of the year, so everything important had already passed. So it was really just kind of they would have probably had an objection if there had been some co-ed action going on, but I don't remember anybody getting in a lot of trouble, or even alcohol. Do you
No,
remember?
I don't remember any of that happening. It could have. I just remember occasionally new couples would emerge, and then show back,
or break up.
or break up. Yeah, but it was, but no.
Trust me, if it was my senior year and I was there, my tape would have been broken because it's my senior year. What are you gonna do, right? But no, I miss those trips. So
That's probably why nothing happened, Michael, because you didn't
weren't
get to go.
there.
If Andrew Dunlap was also in the playoffs, I mean, there you have it.
there you go. Yeah, me and Andrew Quineth were we
Yeah,
could go to those trips.
Yes. All the shenanigans stayed in Plainview.
Same baseball.
But
I
that was a
wasn't
lot
a
of fun.
fan, but I definitely heard some stories about things that happened on the bus on the way to Corpus.
Or
Um,
just a bus going to the games, period, Lisa.
No, I heard a few risque stories that I remember being totally shocked because they were about people that you never expected to engage in such activities. And
Remember, this
it
is a
is not that
G-rated show. This is a
I'm not
G-rated show.
going there. I'm not going there. I'm just saying, there weren't a lot of secrets in Plainview, guys. I mean, come on. There really, everybody knew your business. So I can attest for the three of us girls in this group that we were good girls in high school.
Hey,
There was no scuttlebutt about us in high school.
I was an angel.
Yes, you are. You're an angel, Flo.
But of course, marching, we went into symphony band. That was a lot of fun. Not really, I didn't enjoy that, but it's just playing the same music over and over. I did like the Christmas though, because we do a Christmas show. That was cool. And I remember
every year.
I remember John Wright would do that horse on his trumpet, and I forget what song it was, but anyway, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was sleigh ride. At the end of sleigh ride, he did the horse neigh.
And then we did, and it's still popular today. 3 different schools, high schools where I taught, they Christmas and medley, Christmas, where you did, it was a big long song with a medley of all different Christmas songs. It was beautiful, and I still like our band at Langdon would do that at their Christmas concert, Christmas medley,
something like that.
Christmas, yeah. And it was just a
Oh, I don't remember that one. Oh,
sleigh
How
ride
fun.
that I liked. That was always the one. And then Carmina Burana. Didn't we play Carmina Burana? I mean, that was one that I always enjoyed. Do you remember playing that, Michael?
what, Mark? What?
Carmina Burana. Do you remember playing that?
No. What? I don't even know what. How does it sound like? I don't remember. I remember though going back to March and us playing our school song, and the opposition is, of course, singing "Oh Christmas Tree, Oh Christmas Tree," and I can hear him sing sometimes. But speaking of, there was one game. I guess it was either Harvard and Monterey. Some dude threw a hot dog at me. I mean, just pelted me with a hot dog, and of course, I ran towards the bleachers and was cursing, wanted to climb up and whoop that guy's ass. But anything like that happened to you guys?
Yeah. Well,
Really?
Game that was really bad, and it was Monterey.
I know.
They were always unpredictable, but we had brand new, beautiful white uniforms, and they had, weren't they red?
White with red stones. They were really pretty.
It was really pretty, and we were doing a halftime show, and we got pelted with rotten tomatoes.
What?
While you're wearing
Really?
white.
Yeah.
Particularly, they got Jeannie. I don't know if they were right there in the middle.
They got me, and they got, that would have been our junior year, maybe.
Yeah, so maybe Christy. Yeah.
Somebody, whoever was standing next to me, we got it on the end. I don't remember if we were the ones that got the most, but we got pelted pretty good. And we were so coached to maintain your dignity no matter what happens. If you fall.
Oh, you guys were. Yeah, you guys were.
I didn't break. I never, I didn't break form. And I will say that it was sort of humiliating. And I was probably, however old we were, I was probably emotional, but I was more upset about my uniform, So
Did it clean? Did it come off? That's cool.
Anything that come out.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh. I remember that game. Crystal and I, that was our first year of being varsity cheerleaders. And I remember Mrs. Buchanan was our cheerleader sponsor, or our cheerleading coach. And she told us that had happened. And so they kind of pulled us to the side because they didn't know if we were going to get pelted either. And I remember just being afraid. I'm like, why would they do that? I was just so naive. I just couldn't understand why somebody would do something like that.
Yeah,
So girls, I have a question for y'all. Did y'all ever teach twirling? Were y'all ever twirling coaches or anything?
Yeah, I didn't do as much as Jeannie, but I did when I was at West Texas A&M. There were little girls in the Canyon area that our twirling coach, Renee Cooper, would hook me up with. And so I made some spending money teaching. And I worked with, when I taught at Pflugerville High School, my second year at Pflugerville High School, they decided they had 2 twirlers. And so I tried to get creative and do some things with just as a duet. But I didn't do as much. I mean, that was the extent of it. I think you did some more. Yeah, it was fun.
Let's see.
Mhm.
I taught, I mean, we both taught at band camp.
Oh, yes,
You know,
I
because
forgot,
when
yeah.
we went to college, we hosted band camp and you always went early. The band had to show up in the summer, but we were required to teach at band camp.
Right.
And
yeah.
so, and that was fun. We
I
loved
love
it.
band camp. I love band
So
camp.
I would oftentimes when the girls would come and take your class, you might pick up a team there. And I picked up several teams. I taught Brownfield ISD, New Deal, which is just a little bit north of Lubbock, and then I taught Littlefield ISD for a number of years actually. And you know, you just strike up a relationship, and I just loved working with those kids. I really was close to the teams that I taught, and then I taught some solos. You know, girls that were doing more solo preparation work, and then later, not related to twirling, I would coach the girls that would go to Miss Texas. And I did that. I really taught that in particular up till I got probably about 2002-ish or 2003. So maybe up until about 20 years ago. But I enjoyed it mostly for the relationships, and I'm still in touch with some of my twirlers, and I really value the relationships that have come from that. It was a blessing to be able to do those things.
Did you teach music too, or just twirling and voice? You did. Okay.
I did. I couldn't teach music while I was competing. There were some
Okay.
really specific rules around that. So I could teach, but I couldn't make. But you know, twirling in college, and while I was in college, I had 3 jobs. And so I had a lawn mowing business for senior citizens. I worked at boutique, and I taught twirling to make my world go around. So it was very helpful. I could make really good money.
You make good
twirling.
money. Yeah. Like I
Really?
said.
Well, yeah, that segues into another question. So since you're still in touch with some of the women who you taught when they were younger, do they now have daughters who are twirlers?
No.
No.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, like with my own daughter, she used to always say, I'm going to bring it back, you know, but twirling is really something that you still see feature twirlers at Tech. I mean, and twirlers at Tech, you still at UT, you see them. There are not very many schools really that have twirling teams. Do they still have them at WT?
They still have twirlers at WT. Yeah, but they often at WT they'd have like 2 features and then a line. And I don't know this year, but while my nephew was there, they still had a line of girls. Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
none of my students had children that I'm aware of that twirl.
Same.
But they all, you know, it depends on where you live as
Yeah.
to whether it's even something that is popular or even known. I mean, even, you know, just a few weeks ago, I was having lunch with someone, and she was actually with Jeannie, our coach. I had lunch with her, and the woman had never heard of twirling. She didn't know what that was.
What?
Yeah.
It's not well known. Yeah.
Depends on where you're from.
Depends on where
I
you're
mean,
from.
you know, it's not something that's widely known anymore. Maybe back in the 50s, it was more prevalent, but you know, and now it's a very athletic sport. I mean, it was very athletic when we did it, and it's very, very hard.
Even more now, though.
But even more now. I mean, it's
gymnastics,
Olympic
mixed
level.
in. Yeah.
Well, when I worked at Arts, I remember Bethany and them used to go in the summer for the nationals at Notre Dame. I remember it was Notre Dame. I wonder if they still have nationals, because that was a big thing.
I bet they do. Yeah.
They do. I'm sure that they do. I mean, they have Egypt, so I can't imagine that they don't have a national competition of some sort for just twirlers in general, whether you're associated with a school or not. But it's just I've seen several twirlers just online that the skill that they have is literally, I feel, Olympic level.
It's
higher.
impressive. It's very impressive. Yeah.
Well, I remember Bethany would have her students, and she would teach them in the back in the warehouse. And there's one move that I would watch, and I would say, there's no way anybody can do that. It was the illusion. I guess when you would toss the baton straight up in the air, and then you would do I can't do it, a kick. Like you take your leg and do a whole circle and then catch it. Could you guys do that?
In college, yes.
What about now?
I think if I tried to do that whole leg over.
Yeah. I mean, it's because your head goes down to your knee.
Yeah.
So it's really your leg is up and your head is down.
Your head's touching your knee.
So if you
I think there's a yoga move. I don't know what it's called, Lisa, where like they're saying you put your head on your knee and the other leg straight up.
It's
So
a
that's what
standing split. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the illusion was, but it was a 360 leg.
Yeah.
So it was pretty impressive. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. It's like a cartwheel with just one leg down and no arms, and your other leg goes
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Really
So how often did you guys get bruises? I mean, from your fingers to your forearms. I mean, how often were you guys bruised?
I remember, well, I don't remember getting bruised on my arm as much. I just remember we got down on our knees quite a bit for various routines, and my knees were constantly bruised because we would practice in Jeannie Pennell's front yard, and it was a nice rocky sidewalk, and she was not going to let us pretend. So, I mean, I constantly had bloody bruised knees.
Yeah. I wore knee pads.
I should have.
Did you not?
I never wore, no, I should have.
Okay, after a few seasons of really badly bruised, I wore knee pads. They were ugly, but I wore them and then of course in the actual competition, if you're on a gym floor or whatever, you don't. But I wore knee pads. I just remember a lot. When you're twirling and you're throwing up a metal rod, before you perfect a trick, you're gonna get hit in a million different places other than where you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And so I remember blood blisters all over my hands. And dislocated fingers, things like that. And bruises. And when I was at Tech, and unfortunately they used to replay this video. They always filmed the games, and they filmed practice also. And in one practice, my baton got caught under my armpit. When I pulled it out, I gave myself a black eye.
Oh.
It hit me, and I just went boom. And they used to play that over and over.
And forever, her pinky would just stick out. Does it still do that? When we were in high school together, just wing, because we were supposed to have our hands like this, and her she couldn't keep her pinky down because she dislocated it.
Ouch. So you mentioned filming. I remember on Mondays after a game, OT would show the film from the Friday night game, and he would point out all the mistakes. And luckily, I've marched all 4 years. I never made a mistake. Never. It was perfect. Batting 1,000 until the last game. I'd stop 5 yards too short. And I remember, he was a junior. There was a redhead. Anyway, he bumped me. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, we got 5 more yards. I'm like, oh, shit. So I moved up and I sat. And the whole thing I'm thinking Monday. Here comes Monday. OT is going to rag on my ass for stopping too early. But he didn't. I don't know if he didn't see it or he was like, he's a senior. But yeah, I remember those Monday film days. So what about you guys? Y'all, come on. Besides dropping the baton, did you guys ever make a mistake?
I'm sure. Yeah. I think my freshman year, sometimes we had to be on a certain line and we would move over a little for a trick, but then you get back on the line. I think one of the games my freshman year, I was off the line for several parts of that song. And I remember watching it going, he never pointed it out, but I thought, ooh, that looks bad. Never did it again because, but yeah, I did mess up.
We were pretty good though about helping each other even on the field. We got really good at talking through smile. Scoot over, get up, to help. There's no I in team. So we were looking out for each other at all times.
I remember our junior year, I think it was the flags did a complete circle and they had the flags in towards each other. And then they opened up and there was Mr. John Wright. Somehow during marching, he snuck in there and played a solo. And that was pretty damn impressive. Remember that?
I thought that was the opening song where we did kind of a Spanish song.
Maybe it was that one.
And John Wright did the
You may have.
Sharon Dallas, one of them did the.
But it's the way that he got inside that little circle, and it's open, it like blossomed like a flower. And there's John, and then just played a solo, and he was playing some high pitches. So it was very good. So I'm going to put you guys in the spot. Who was our 2 drum majors our senior year? Don't look at each other.
Not Jesse, because he graduated.
Senior year.
Senior year.
Was that Sharon Dallas?
Nope.
Oh, no, it
Our
was
senior year.
our senior year.
Keith Bell?
Keith Bell.
That's one of them. Who's our other one?
I don't remember.
bad.
Female. It's a female.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it wasn't Sharon?
No.
Was
Julie
she-
Watson. Julie Watson.
Oh,
Julie Watson. Oh, I loved her. Quite the oboe player. Oh my goodness, she was such a good oboe player. Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's 40 years ago.
Hey, do a podcast with them.
41 years ago.
41, my apology. Whew.
I remember when Jess was a drum major.
Mhm.
I just loved it.
Yeah.
In the yearbook where he's got his cape around the 2 of us because it was cold. So yeah, Jesse Barrera.
Oh yeah. Speaking about cold, you guys were, when we played up in Amarillo, Dumas, Pampa, you guys wore those skimpy outfits. You guys must have froze your asses off. Well, we had the full uniform, and it was still cold. But you guys, geez.
Yeah, it was brutal.
But you always
Same
ready. So,
Yeah.
after doing the whole routine, we come up to, I feel better now. But then, yeah.
But right before, I mean, your nerves take over, but it was brutal. And there was, it was a lot of buck up.
Yeah, too bad.
What
You
we
signed
did.
up for this.
Yeah.
You wanted this back in the summer when it was
Yeah.
95 degrees.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's why I moved to Houston. I lived enough through the sleet and snow. I'm like, no more. So when we had our big snowstorm 2 or 3 years ago, my girlfriend's daughters, they're out there playing in the snow. You come? I'm like, no, I'll live through that stuff. No, y'all have fun. So, but anyway, well, thank you guys. We really enjoyed this. Lisa, do you have any more questions, Lisa?
I don't have any more questions. I just want to express my deep, deep gratitude for y'all being willing to do this and to share some amazing stories. I've gotten to take a back seat to this because I wasn't in band, but your sense of pride and how you represented our class was just astounding. And I love you both so much. And you've always conducted yourself with such grace. And I always admired y'all in high school and still do. And thank you so much. It means so much to me that y'all were willing to come and just chat with us about some of these fun memories.
oh, this is an honor to talk with us. Yeah.
One other thing, Chief he originally started the streak, correct? I don't remember his name, but I know he was called Chief, and then OT took over
Yes.
and continued the streak.
I'm playing you. Yeah.
And then, of course, a few years ago, the streak ended. How did you feel when you heard that?
I felt bad for them. You knew it was going to happen someday, or maybe not, but that's tough. It's hard. And it's as a high school teacher, I would see our bands and it's just harder now, I think, frankly. It doesn't mean they performed badly. They just didn't make it to that Division I. So anyway, I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
What about
And
you?
I would just say, I think it's a lot of pressure.
It's too
And I think the longer that streak goes, I think there's just a lot of pressure. And my hope is that they still felt a really strong sense of pride about
Me
what
too.
they accomplished and that they didn't attach their value or anything, their self-worth or any of that to that one moment in time.
Yeah. I mean,
Because it's just one moment in time,
Yeah.
and it is
Yeah,
different now. They have, I don't know if I still, because I'm that girl, I still go to some of those marching competitions because I'm just fascinated by
Yeah.
what they're doing. But it is a lot more with sets and
Props.
and all of
there's
that.
so much that could go wrong. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it doesn't, I'm glad you said that. I hope that group of kids, probably adults now, are not remembering, oh, we were the first, but just how great they were. 'Cause I'm sure they were still great, it
Absolutely.
happened.
Because band
I
is,
th- I-
it's just so much.
yeah.
more.
I like watching marching bands too. I watch them on YouTube or whatever, because I think the choreography has gotten so complex. Way more. I mean, it's become such an athletic thing, depending on what region you're watching, but it's so much more complex than when we were in high school.
Well, I
So
do
it
have
makes the
one more
competitions
question.
different.
Jeannie, years ago, they had a band reunion, I think, didn't they? They had something where a
Well,
lot of, or was it OT's funeral or?
so I think what you might be remembering is we did a This Is Your Life for OT back in, I want to say it was maybe 97 or 8. I can't recall what year exactly. And a lot of us came back, and I was very fortunate that I was invited to come and be backstage. And what they would do is kind of describe different people that he taught over the years. And they sat him on a couch in the middle of the auditorium stage. And then all of these students from all the years, and I don't know if it was just because I was able to come, or, I mean, I'm sure they invited a whole lot of people. There were a lot of people there. And we were able to celebrate his career and the many lives that he touched through that experience. But they did it like the old This Is Your Life show, where they describe people, and over time, maybe he could guess who it is that was about to come out on stage and greet him. And then we were all able to go out on stage one at a time and hug him after they finished describing that. And then we had a big reception afterward. So
Okay, cool.
How
that's
fun.
it was really special to be able to participate in that.
I think there's 2 men in Plainview that they should have streets named after. One is OT Ryan, another was Dr. Siegler. I don't know if you guys ever went to Dr. Siegler, but he was it was a very well-known doctor. But I wish someone could talk to city council and have 2 streets named after those 2 gentlemen. But ladies, thank you again for taking the time out on a Sunday to chat with us. And I'll agree with Lisa, the amazing stories you guys shared. And
Yes.
I hope to see you guys soon. I saw you guys back in September. We had a little dinner, and we're going to have one sometime coming soon in Dallas, where anyone can come, and hopefully you guys can. So, but anyway, thank you.
We will have a
Thank you.
together. But we love
Thank you guys so much.
And
You're
anybody
Thank you.
everybody too.
So peace and love, guys. Peace and love. Take care.
Bye, girls. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Wow, that was great. I really
Another great
enjoyed.
show.
I know, it was great. I really enjoyed their stories, and it went beyond high school, into
Yes.
college, and even after college, and of course that touched me when Jenny spoke about Mr. Ryan going to her dad's funeral. That was very touching.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that made this show really special, Michael, is the fact that these girls have been friends, not just twirlers, but friends for such a long time, and that they're still really good friends. And it's just another testament to one of the many, many blessings that we all received growing up in Plainview. And it was just so wonderful to see them there together today. And
Yeah, that
to
was
share,
pretty cool.
to share from, starting twirling at 3rd grade to, all into adulthood. I mean, they have a long history together. And I think that's what made chatting with them extra special. So
I agree with you. I agree with
Yeah.
you. Well, you want to kind of give them a little teaser for the next show?
yeah, so our next show has some very special people, which we won't tell you who they are today, but we have an angler themed show coming up next Thursday. And if you don't know what an angler is, it's somebody who likes to fish. So we're very excited about we have 3 guests, right? Is that correct, Michael? We have 3 people coming on. Yes, and so we're excited to hear their stories. Oh, I see you're ready for that. Anyway, so stay tuned for next Thursday in our next episode of Goat Knuckle Talk with Flo.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Bye.